Welcome to the Don Pod, the supporters podcast. Here's your hosts, Sam and Nate.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
It's cold outside as it is in my heart. This football club continue to ruin our lives. Essendon 8-7-55 defeated by St Kilda 17-6, 108. The second week in a row, the team has kicked 17 goals against our flaky defence. Welcome back to the Don Pod. If you are here listening, you are honestly a trooper and you deserve a medal. I'm joined by Nathan. Hello to you.
Hello, Sam, and welcome to everyone. And yes, terribly sorry that we have to keep doing this. I don't know why we do it. Are we idiots? Are we suckers for punishment? Are we gluttons? I don't know. That team has fallen into the abyss that we know as the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of emotions right now. One of them is vindication. We spoke about this length during the season, and everyone was like, "Why aren't you more excited? You're second or you're third or whatever." Yeah. This is why. This is what we expected, and it's
those cracks were there.
Unfortunately, come to fruition. I hate myself for believing it would be any different to how it has been for seemingly the last 10 years. You look like you're about to say something or sneeze.
No, it's the 10 years thing. It's that, if I'm sure a lot of people listening to this are long-time Essendon supporters,
the nuffiest of nuffs.
You're nuffies. You don't listen to a podcast about
like
Essendon.
Us, we are
yeah,
one of
unless
them,
you're a bit of a nuffy, and I get that.
You don't do a podcast.
No, you don't do a podcast unless you're a bit of a nuffy. We get that. That's cool. But, gee, do you just sit here and go, it's happening again? It's rinse and repeat. It's rinse and repeat. The effort's gone. It's 4 or 5 games left in the season. It's let's get flogged by every team that's coming our way. And who wants to make the 8 play us? That's sort of.
You want to be played back into form?
Yep, come and play us.
Oh, it really was reminiscent of the GWS game. I might just say thankfully
last year, not the earlier year.
Yeah. The 126-point loss. Against a less class opponent in St Kilda, we lost by 50, whatever it was, instead of 53, instead of 126. I think you dish up that performance against Sydney in a couple of weeks, and we'll find out some things.
Oh, in Sydney. It's here, isn't it?
Melbourne. But then we finished the season with Sydney and Brisbane, so it could get ugly. Brisbane are in super, super hot form.
They're winning.
Their last 11 games, they've won 10 and drawn 1. They haven't lost in 11. Yep. Jesus Christ. Anyway, back onto this. So, goal scorers, not a long list this week, thankfully. Shield 2, leading goal scorer Dylan Shield. Yes, you heard it right. Stringer, Merritt, Jones, Dersma, Durham, Draper 1. And then leading disposals, bit of a lower possession game. Dersma 25, Merritt 24, Martin 23. I said the wrong thing, but at least I didn't conjoin them this time.
Yeah, that is one of your things.
I'm not going to say it's going to be a short pod, but...
Well, let's start with that because we do love to say it's going to be a short pod, then drag it over for an hour.
Podcast,
yeah.
We're going to...
how do we not go...
This is going to get dark.
Full sicko on it. Like, how do we not just go, burn the place down, get rid of it? There was a point in the game, Sam and I occasionally watch the games through Zoom together so we chat. There was a point in the game where Sam, I think it was in the third quarter, he goes, I just reckon we get rid of everyone. I don't reckon... And then he goes, maybe we keep Merritt. No, and then I think you went Durham and Caldwell and a few of those.
Keep the spine, but fuck the back 6 off. And I'm sorry, Ridley, that includes you. It's the whole lot at this point in time.
Yep, everyone burned. Like McGrath, Redmond, what point are they? Why is McGrath on a 7-year contract? What's the point of that? Yeah. Like, has a back pocket that can't play back pocket. Like, why don't we find someone else who can do that?
Like Massimo D'Ambrosio. Yeah,
Massimo D'Ambrosio all of a sudden looked like a pretty bloody good player.
An option, yeah.
Oh, and then there's freaking Red Dog. Could you go near your man? He's your man. Go near him. Like, seriously, the footage we kept watching, going, he's nowhere near him again. He's giving him a mile of space.
Yeah. Well, let's do this properly. Let's back some arguments up with some numbers and.
Sorry, everyone.
No, I'm fully here for it, but let's do it properly. That's what separates us from, well, no one else really. But anyway,
no one else is stupid enough to do this. Oh, well, there are other people there, but I'm sure they're doing it better, more professionals.
No. We're here for the supporters. We are
Yep.
the supporters podcast, as the intro says. The biggest issue I have right now from yesterday specifically is the CBA numbers. So you're big on your CBAs, and I love it because it's one stat I don't have to go and find, which is just lovely.
It's about the only one I do, isn't
Although I must say you did do the run sheet today, and I came on a bit like, hang on, that's my job. Can you?
Yeah, he was a bit like, no, don't mess with it. I like the way I do it.
It's
Thank
my
you.
sheet, bitch.
Yeah.
He even tried to write my intro, which was a real
No crossing boundaries there,
hurt
people.
myself. Anyway, CBAs. So the concern I think we spoke about Thursday night in our preview was what happens to, or what's the effect of Parrish coming back into the midfield? Who does that kick out? Now, Das had a shit game. I'm not going to harp on about that because it's his first game back after 2-3 months, so whatever. The strange one, my concern was that it would push Caldwell out. That's what I was worried about. And it did, but not because of Parrish, weirdly. Because of Jake Stringer.
Yep.
What? Why?
Explain this one to us, people. So Jake Stringer went to 65% of the CBAs. And Caldwell, Shield, and Durham were pushed to 30%. So they got kicked out of the midfield rotations for Stringer, who in the last 5 weeks hasn't found a way to kick many goals or be good in the midfield.
And I just...
Yeah, our strength in the last few weeks has been Caldwell. It's been Durham.
Well, our strength all season has been... Yeah. When we finish this year, when we look back, the positives are going to be Durham, Caldwell. It's about it. Caddy might get a mention in there. And he had a filthy game yesterday too, I might add. But there's not many. Like we've seen development in these young kids. Yet Stringer, all of a sudden, I don't know if he puts his arm up and says, "I'll do it for the boys." No, this isn't a dig at Stringer. This is a dig at the coaching. Well, Jake's just doing what he's told.
Unless, as I said though, he's putting his arm up and saying, "I'll go." But
still, the coaches should be like, "No, Jake, you're a forward."
Yeah.
It's on the coaches.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't get it. And Caldwell's out of contract. So do we want to piss off a guy who's out of contract? Because I reckon he wants to play midfield. He wants to be in there.
He could go to any club.
He'd
seriously,
go anywhere.
Collingwood clubs that are looking for midfielders like Collingwoods and those sort of guys would be hard.
Could stroll up to Sydney just about and get a game.
He'd be beautiful in Sydney. He's that type of Sydney player.
I don't think we'll lose him. I'm not suggesting that, but I'm just saying, what are we trying to achieve by doing that? Jake's barely in the side as a forward right now.
Yeah, agree. But I just don't understand the theory of
kept
putting
happening.
65%.
We're losing.
He had 21 CBAs compared to Caldwell's 10. Now, the only thing, maybe Caldwell was injured from last week. But then, what's the point of playing him? If he can't do the role, then you would have brought in Hobbs and said, okay, well, we bring in Hobbs. There's a replacement, a like for like.
Yeah, that's right. The decision to play Stringer over Caldwell is one. But two, it wasn't working. We were getting flogged, and it kept happening.
It never changed.
Well, let's keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again and hope it changes.
It's my issue with Scott is that I don't feel like he's a very good coach. He's probably one of those really good, leaders amongst men type bloke.
Men, yes.
Yeah, but on field, he's not doing anything that game was gone at halftime again. And what changed? Well, not thankfully or not, Ridley got injured, so he subbed. But then Perkins was fucking shithouse. Let's be honest, he had 4 touches for a half a footy. That's just, don't even worry about rocking up, mate. And then nothing else changed.
I'm forgiving of a guy coming off the sub. I don't have as many issues with that.
He's got to get more than 4 touches.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm a bit more forgiving. Yeah. So Stringer, just get out of my midfield, please. It's not him. I fully admit that. But Jesus Christ, what are we trying to achieve? We're not improving anything by doing that. It wasn't working, and yet we still kept doing it. And I don't care about his numbers. It's just not the option.
No, it's just like play him forward or don't play him at all. His contract ends at the end of this year. We haven't offered him anything yet. There's 4 or 5 games to go.
Well, allegedly he has signed, but it's all hearsay. Okay.
Well,
rumor garbage.
Right now, though, he's 30. He's 30?
30, I think.
20,
yep.
Yeah, 30. So, he's not Going forward, I don't see him as in midfield option. It's Durham. It's Caldwell. It's Merritt. It's Parrish, and maybe Shields been pretty good. We'll give him since he's been back from the bye. He's been really good. He's an interesting one also at the end of a contract. He at least offers something. He gets the ball and he runs away.
Yes. And if it's not them...
He's kicked 2 goals and had 20-odd touches. He's had a much better game than Stringer.
Yes. If it's not them, then it's Hobbs. Then it's
That's right.
Sardis. Then it's maybe Jake Stringer. I fully support Stringer as a one-off. Yep. Let's try something. Throw him in the guts and just see if he can bull out a clearance for us.
In the third quarter when we're down.
Not 65%. I mean, Anzac Day, I think he did sort of that. I think he played a bit more midfield on Degoe and that kind of worked. But there's been games where we just chuck him in there once or twice a quarter and you go, yeah, all right, I can see what they're trying to do there.
Yep.
21.
He's the second most attended CBAs, like behind Merritt. Merritt had 23. We don't count Draper because he has to go there. And Stringer's had 21. Like, he's nearly the leading midfielder. What the fuck? Like, seriously?
It just makes no sense to me at all. And I don't know what message you're sending Jai Caldwell. And if there's guys in the VFL watching, they're going, Christ, I'm never getting into that midfield.
Well,
Jai Caldwell can't even get in there for the majority of a game of football.
I'm fascinated. I wish, and this is when I wish I was in the AFL media, because I'd love to say after the game, I'd love to go to Brad Scott and say, so what's the theory here, mate? Please explain to us why Jake Stringer, an aging, slow, freaking thinks he can do it all himself forward, is playing in the midfield. Like, what's wrong with Durham, who's been an absolute star this year, and what's wrong with Caldwell?
And I would say Caldwell's been our best player. Apart from Merritt. I mean, I take Merritt out of the
Caldwell's
conversation.
been best player the last 6 weeks. He's probably votes in most of those games. Yeah.
I mean, look, and Stringer had 8 clearances. So you look at that and go, I mean, all right, it's a decent game of football.
What value?
But you dig a bit deeper. Well, he went at 78%. Okay, so whatever. The stats don't actually back up our argument, but I don't care. It's just not the option.
We've lost by 50 points.
Yeah, okay, that's a good stat. Good one.
We've lost by 50 points, and we're playing a guy who, I agree with your point, is that the list should go Merritt, Parrish, Shield, probably Durham, Caldwell, Shield, then it goes into Sardis and or Hobbs, whichever one of those. That's the way it should go. Not Stringer gets in there a little pop in, pop out.
Once every so often.
There's no one else that jumps into that midfield. Maybe Martin could jump in, but they don't want to do that. Dersma could jump in, but they don't want to do that.
Dersma's the straight up winger, so that's fine.
But I don't mind it if a guy like that rolls in there for something different. Yeah. But not fucking Jake Stringer. Like, it's just time over.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. I think we've made it.
We've made it
pretty clear how we feel there.
We're seeing a Jake Stringer in the midfield. You'll be back next week with Goldie, probably.
Yeah. Oh dear. You've got a point there from McGrath and Redmond, and I think we can expand this to pretty much the entire ground this week. 23
now,
players. I don't want to come across as too reactionary to a loss, but I think we're still clinging on to 8th because Melbourne lost.
Yeah, Melbourne lost.
On the Dogs, far out. We actually could still be 8th by the end of the week because the Dogs play Sydney.
Come on, Dogs.
But
do us a favour.
Last week and the week before, we were playing for second on the ladder.
Yep.
I mean, last week we wouldn't have stayed there. The week before we would have.
Yep.
So, what the fuck? I mean, it all goes south so quickly, and that's why I don't want to come across as too reactionary. But these are issues that me and you have had for a little while.
Yep.
Not just since we've been losing. And
since, I reckon, before after the Collingwood game, after that good win or that draw there were a few games after that where we won, lost, and we started to stumble a bit. And you could start to see the defence was starting to fail, and the scores were getting higher.
Yeah.
I think West Coast scored 80 or 90.
90 odd. The cracks were forming from about the North Melbourne game. Now, we won that by 40 points, but we were going, geez, that was a shit game of football.
Yep.
And, I mean, North would beat us now. I don't have a lot of doubt that we'd get done by pretty much any team in the comp, to be honest.
Well, Melbourne's gone on to lose every game after they beat us. Who else did we... Collingwood haven't won since we've beaten them.
And
So, we have no form.
if I'm a Collingwood supporter, I'm going, shit, we lost to that.
Yeah.
Wow, we're in trouble.
So
it was the North game, the Richmond game we watched and went, Jesus, we were lucky to get away with a win there. That was when they had no one. Anyway, so I don't remember a time this year where I've said, geez, Redmond was good. But McGrath had a few games early where he got votes from us because he was rebounding
really
off
early in the
halfback
season.
and doing the right things. But now it's just like, bro, can you hit a target? Are you actually able to think about what you're going to do with the football and then dispose of it rather than just run and belt it on the boot and hope for the best?
And there was one example we'll quickly give there that there was a kick in from, I think, Redmond to him. He just turned around.
Turned and went.
He just turned and kicked. And we went, there's no way he knew what was kicking to. He just went, boom, I'm kicking. And it was marked by the St Kilda guy because it was a 2-on-1 or 3-on-2 or something like that.
Yep.
And I went, what? Why did he do that? Like, what?
There's a wider issue there that's not specific to Redmond or any player or McGrath.
Yep.
And that is that we don't seem to have an idea of when to go fast and when to go slow. And I reckon, watching it, I mean, this is easy to say as a supporter and in hindsight, we get it wrong like 80% of the time. We get a mark on the wing and then handball to a bloke who's under immediate pressure. And you just go, why?
Yep.
What are you seeing? And the guy who's calling for it is equally to blame.
Yeah.
What are you seeing? Why are you doing that? Is it an instruction?
Well, I think they think that playing fast is what's going to win the game.
But they immediately stop.
But that is that we're floating so far back that all the forwards are getting so far back into the defensive side that when we do get the ball and they try and play it quick, there's no one to kick it to. There's just opposition defenders standing there going, I'm going to get a mark.
And we commented on this watching it yesterday, how much of a clusterfuck it was for us going inside our forward 50 compared with the amount of space that the St Kilda forwards had to lead into. I mean, they kicked 4 goals from that pocket. You'd think at some point we'd learn. Pretty arsey, I'll admit. I think on another day they wouldn't kick 4 goals.
Kept doing it, though.
But they kept doing it. Exactly right.
Yep.
And on a number of times, the mark was taken because Heppel was too slow or too weak.
Yep.
Laverde was too slow to react or gave his opponent way too much space.
Way too much.
There was one replay where he stopped. Yeah. He just stopped running and then all of a sudden had to go. And it's like, you just can't be flat-footed. You've just got to keep moving with him.
And then on the flip side of us kicking into our forward line,
they're just bomb and hope.
Just bombing it on everyone's head and watch it get punched or hit the ground and get carried out.
We've had 3 coaches.
Yeah.
And that hasn't changed.
No, and it's my greatest frustration.
Worked.
No one takes a mark. Peter Wright took 1 mark for the game. Caddy maybe 2 or 3, but they weren't impact situations.
And they weren't up for
Who do they think's going to take that fucking mark?
Yeah.
Who?
Yep.
Who's going to take the fucking mark? What are they bombing on the fucking heads of the forwards? Is it fucking who?
The only time I'd accept that play is if we had Charlie Curnow or Jeremy Cameron or someone with an ounce of skill, and I'll excuse Caddy from
someone who takes pack marks.
Someone who can mark the fucking football. That's right. But it's just dying inside and out. It's been a thing. I remember joking about this in like 2018 that we kept bombing the ball on Tip and Woody's head.
Yep.
Me and in a group chat, we had a running joke that kick it on Waller's head count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like it was multiple times a game. And we're still doing this bomb kick. I don't understand. And then we finally do get a mark. 30 out, straight in front, and Langford misses. Because you can't fucking kick anymore.
He's lost. Something's wrong with him. He's lost all his ability to be a decent football player again.
You watch them dob it from the paint 4 times. And Langford misses the one straight in front twice. One on half time, which I know you missed because you had parental responsibilities.
I had to go do some parenting.
We got a shit free kick. Very shit free kick. Could be the first to hold my hand up there.
Yep.
Merritt passes it literally 35 out straight in front on the halftime siren to just keep us in the hunt, give us a sniff, and he fucking misses it. You just go... You're a senior player. You got to put your hand up and go, right, I got this. And this is a guy who was our best shot for goal. We had two of the best kicks for goal in the comp in Peter Wright and Langford. Peter Wright, he's got to get shots before I comment. I can't remember him having a shot on goal for the last month.
No, he's struggling to get that mark and shot on goal.
Yeah.
He's
Langers,
just so out of form.
you're just missing from fucking straight in front. You just
I reckon
can't
it's all his
do
head
it.
now. Like he
It
just
is,
shits himself.
absolutely.
He
It
shits
is.
himself when he gets a mark now. He's like, I
Has
can't
to be.
kick. Yeah.
Has to be in his head. There's no wind.
And then the other thing just on Langford that I couldn't fathom is that in that last quarter we sent him back. But what's the point?
I mean,
who gives a fuck if we lose by 60 points now or 50 points? Who gives? Why are we sending Langford back? Why don't you do something
It's too
stupid and
late.
send someone else back? I don't know. Let's send Caddy back. I don't give a fuck. Let's send someone else back. Let's try a different thing.
I can
Why not experiment with 15 minutes to go?
hold my hand up there and go, well, at least we tried something. At least we did something, but you're spot on. It was too late. Way too late.
What's the point? Why in the last quarter send him back there?
And I mean, I'm looking at it now because we had this discussion early 2023 where we went, Langford's not a defender. Let's play him forward. And then he went forward and he kicked 50 goals. And it was quite like, okay, well, he's definitely a forward. Across the last 2 weeks, he was our number one leading intercept marker last week. And he actually looked more comfortable in defence this week. So
maybe it's this time for him to
maybe
go
he's a
back.
defender.
Yep.
Who knows? I'm with you now. Let's put McKay full forward, see what happens.
I'm just like throw everything around. The other one I want to quickly mention too is Gresham. I've been really frustrated with him for the last several
Given
weeks.
us
I think
nothing for
he
quite a long
just
time.
gives us nothing. I was screaming at him, go back to your freaking St Kilda mates. Like seriously, the fascinating stat I want to give on him for this game was that meters gained.
Can you want to rephrase that?
Yeah,
Meter
for this
gained.
game.
Meter
Hey?
gained.
Meter, yeah, it's true. Actually,
Just singular.
it's not plural. 1 meter, people. I want you to all sit and think. He's had 6 kicks, 6 handballs, 3 marks, 4 tackles, and somehow he's made the ball travel 1 meter forward. 1 meter.
He
I mean,
had
I
a
can't show it
dirty
on
game.
screen, but it's not very big. I think we all know how big a meter is. That's half a Peter.
He hasn't even got a
How
Peter
did he not
Wright.
a Peter?
He hasn't got any of his teammates, to be fair.
He couldn't get it a Peter.
We don't
Seriously.
we don't have a 90-centimetre player running around. It's
Oh,
all of his
fuck
teammates.
me. I mean, that is, I look at that and go, what the fuck did you do with the ball?
Especially as a half forward,
What
where
did you
really he's only
with the
going
ball?
forward.
I mean, Archie Perkins only moved at 26 metres forward, so that's
Well, I mean,
a
that's
couple of
better.
handballs.
That's at least 13 Peters.
I mean, that's just... I'm sorry, that's droppable for me. That's like, no, mate, like, you can't have
droppable?
kicks, 6 kicks and you've gone the ball 1 metre forward.
Half the team's droppable at this point.
Mm.
The only one, I mean, let's add a little speck of
Rachel.
positivity
Mhm.
here. The only one I can say, 2, I can say 3.
I
maybe.
could say a couple, but yeah.
Dersma, good game of footy.
Yep,
25
good game of footy.
touches, kicked a goal, took a couple, or 9 marks, which would have been a team high. Yes, it was a team high.
He really flies for his marks, too, doesn't he? Really cracks in the packs.
A couple of St Kilda players had more, but team high for him anyway. I liked Zachy Merritt's game as I usually do. Kick
That was
goal of the
always
year.
good.
Probably should have mentioned
Yeah,
that off
yeah.
the top. That was unbelievable the way that ball moved.
Mm.
And Shield. I quite liked Dill's
Yep.
game. And Durham actually. Durham had 6 clearances and
Yeah, but Shield kicked 2 goals, had 20 odd touches.
Dill's
Like,
goals.
He
I
still
mean-
shirts. He's still a bit fucking doesn't like to be touched.
It doesn't
He's
have
still
the defensive game, but
well, he doesn't have a defensive game, and he doesn't like to really stick his head over the ball, and finds it hard to get a free kick too if he gets his head smacked.
yeah, got his head ripped off and then didn't get the free kicks and Kilda kicked a goal. Yeah, frustrating.
Mm.
It's so annoying because there was a couple of those times where that one stands out. There was another free kick that we should have got in our defensive 50, but we were like 40 points down, and I'm just sitting there going, doesn't matter, but it's really frustrating. When
Just
you're
hurts.
already getting flogged
Yeah,
and you've had a shit day and then these obvious free kicks get me.
yeah.
you
And the other one I thought was pretty good was Draper too. I thought he rucked well against a very, very good ruckman in Marshall. I think Marshall's one of the elite ruckmans in the competition. I thought.
I mean,
I'm not
had-
saying Draper won or anything like that, but I thought he did pretty well.
Marshall flogged him. I'm sorry to tell you. 26 touches, a goal, 8 clearances, 30 hit
Yeah,
outs.
I'm not saying he didn't beat him in all those stats, but I'm still saying I thought he went well as a ruckman.
What? It's just occurred.
Marshall's a very good around the ground ruckman.
I know. I'm moving on. It's just occurred to me
Mm.
that we commented on Dylan Shield not having a defensive side to his game, which one of the comments we've made previously is that, well, with Caldwell and Durham in the midfield, maybe we can get away with that a little bit more. Maybe that it just allows Dill to play a bit more freely. Well, guess what? We took Jai Caldwell out of that midfield, put Stringer in, who I must say does not have a defensive bone in his body, and Jack Steele kicked 3 goals.
Jack Steele 3 goals. I mean, when was the last time Jack Steele kicked 3 goals?
Maybe we need Caldwell in that midfield. I mean, for several reasons. But one is he's our most defensive. Struggling today. He's our most defensive midfield.
Well, I think too the flow-on effect of having Parrish back in for his first game is that he probably was a bit underdone. Let's be honest.
Maybe.
And St Kilda run one of their strengths is that they run. They run up and down the ground like no one else.
No,
and Parrish probably found that hard at stages, and maybe he was on Steele at different stages, and Steele just outran him. Like there was a play where the ball was a contest down in our back half, hit the ground, and Steele was there, and then he ran past and got a handball receive off the, 10 metres out from goal, ran in to kick an open goal. Like so, he's run his guts out up to the other end. Now Stringer wouldn't have chased him, no way. In fucking hell would Jake Stringer run the ground chasing someone, and I'm sure Parrish would have been probably a bit knackered if he was around. Whereas if it was Durham or definitely Caldwell would have chugged along with him.
Would have been with him.
So.
Yeah, we're all over the shot here. We're changing topics every 3 seconds. It feels like, but there's just so many things that are wrong.
Yeah. We're talking like they play.
All over the shop.
All over the shop. At least we're giving effort. That was the one thing I want to talk about too. Like effort. Like there were stages in that game where it just didn't look like guys like Redmond and that guy just didn't want to run. Like they just didn't want to chase.
Shit.
They didn't want to do any of the basics of that you're asking the club to do. Like, and again, I'm going to go back to that. So often we see it this time of the year, the effort just fades. Like, it's like, nah, we can't play final. Nah, we're not good enough. Well, let's pack up shop. Where should we go for the holidays, boys? Like that seems to be the focus.
Yeah, let's
go
back
off into a training camp.
Yeah,
that'll really pay off.
That worked,
fucking
didn't it?
wankers. Oh, I'm sick of all the shit. I'm sick of all the bullshit the club feeds you. I haven't even listened to the coach from the after game.
No, I can't be bothered.
Can't be bothered dealing with his fucking, look, we just, the effort was there. We just, some players
we didn't execute. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't execute.
It's the first time that and again, this is very reactionary. I know. It's the first time I've gone, now we made the wrong choice. This isn't the coach to take us forward. And
I've said it
that's
all along.
silly, and that'll change, no doubt, at different times. But there was a thing on on Twitter. I can't remember who it was, and I apologise. But when was the last time we played for a coach?
Oh, I can tell you when.
James Head.
Yep.
Interesting. I've always said, probably not on the podcast, but to friends,
just to people,
so trust me, that James Head could coach. He was a good coach. We were top 4 with him, and then it kind of went to shit, obviously, with all the saga nonsense that went on. But I never had a doubt that man could coach a football club. And I hope that he coaches a club at some point. There's a talk that he's going to coach Port Melbourne, where his son is playing at the moment.
Yeah.
But I support the decision process that we went through for Brad Scott. I support that proper process was followed and that James Hird may not have been the option. And I think for the external noise, James Hird was not the option.
Yep.
And I'm happy.
I think that's what the club was scared of, is that all the media that would come after us.
The club was scared.
Yeah, that's my view.
So
the club has been scared for years, probably since the scandal, to pick players that are a bit different. Like we don't have a player that's, like controversial. Stringer's the most controversial, like he got in trouble 20 years ago. Like we don't go for those guys. We go after bland, boring ass. Like the thing, I know this is a stupid thing. Who's got fucking tattoos in our team? Who's got a tattoo that's visible? Jake Stringer. Who else? No one. Heppel's got a little one on his leg.
There's no money.
You look around the clubs and all the guys covered in tats. And why can't we get, like, I know this is a stupid thing, but I feel like all the really aggressive. Dusty Martin, all those guys covered in tats. They're usually a bit freaking
They're a bit of a
flamboyant football
prick.
players.
Yeah.
Bit of a prick, but flamboyant football players.
Yeah. Well, the comment I
We
saw
go for the
was...
goody fucking Andy McGraths who can't play the fucking game, but we sign him up as vice captain and give
In
him
6
7-year
years.
fucking deals, even though they're shit football players who can only play back pocket and can't even play that well.
That's how you really feel. The comment I saw again on Twitter was that can't wait for us to fall down the ladder, get a good pick, and pick a private school boy with a good family.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we'll fucking pick because that's all we ever do.
Yeah, I mean we're just trying to be a nice football club, but it's
Yeah,
a
we
bit...
just, we don't
Everyone
upset anyone.
hates
We don't want to be
us.
in the media. We don't want to be. Ooh, we
This
don't, ooh.
I would like to embrace this.
Bring in all the drug fiends.
Shut up, will ya? Fucking hell! Trying to talk. Sorry. Love you. Everyone hates us. Everyone enjoys it when we fall off, and that's fine. You don't have to like the Essendon Football Club. That's okay. But let's embrace that. Let's be hated.
Mm.
And let's go, yeah, hate us. Because you know what makes people hate football clubs even more?
Winning.
Winning. Exactly right.
Well, it's the Kinnevans.
Well, there's plenty of examples, but, Collingwood last year, everyone fucking hates Collingwood. They won the flag.
But it's the guys like Ginnivan. Like, he is a pain in the ass, antagonising little shit, but he kicks goals. Like,
Good footballer. Very good footballer.
we don't have a... Who's that in it? Menzies? No.
Oh, God. The slowest small forward I've ever seen in my life.
That was small forward we've got. Like, it's not Hind, it's not anyone. Like, you think of all our small... No one... We don't have anything. We don't go after those guys.
You know who's got the most grunt?
We wouldn't
and
go after
mongrel?
Stengel those years ago because he's drug troubles from Adelaide, so we didn't want to go near him.
I'll tell you what. There was a little video doing the rounds. Two, actually, videos I've seen. Eddie Betts kicking a pretty miraculous goal playing for Wangaratta. And then he was... I don't know why, at the Bulldogs. And he did a little dribble kick for a doorway from about 30 metres away and fucking nailed it. First time. I'm just like, Ed, do you want to go around again? Because I reckon he'd give us more than
our small forwards.
some of our players. And I mean, I just love Eddie Betts, but
Yeah, that's true. Our small forwards are shit house.
well, we don't have any.
I'd just say I'd play the Davey brothers from here on in and just say, well, look, be shit, that's fine.
Well,
at least you're young.
That's a really great segue. I mean, do I need to talk stats? Let me reel through the stats quickly.
No,
but
let's
I'm
just
gonna,
talk
I'm going to move
okay.
on to the votes after that because I don't think
Yeah,
we
go
can
rip through the stats.
sit here and bash the club for this long. Minus 67 disposals. Now, I made the point last week that we normally win this count, so that's a real fall away. Minus 55 kicks, minus 12 handballs, and minus 17 contested. Plus 3 hit-outs, and we actually won clearances. Didn't feel like that. So plus 3 overall, plus 5 at the centre, minus 2 stoppages. And I got some opinions on how we set up at the stoppage clearance, but I'm not going to go into it. Just space for our opposition. It's bizarre.
Yep.
And minus 49 marks, which is a fucking shellacking.
Oh, that's horrible.
And the 49, St Kilda were plus 49 on their average for the year. We pretty much got our average. So they had 133 uncontested marks.
They just had the
Yikes.
ball. They had the
Wow.
ball.
Yeah, flop.
And we wouldn't work. That's just a clear sign of you're not going to work and get over to players.
Work rate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's work rate.
And the one that is bizarre to me still is that we were plus 3 inside 50s.
I can't fathom that. I can't.
What? And
yeah.
to go deeper on that, St Kilda went at 65% efficiency.
Wow.
Which they average 46, which is about the AFL average. It's sort of that 45 to 50 mark. Our average is 44%, and we went at 37.
Yep. So they just found it easy going inside 50. That's what that says. So they got their average, but they got their normal amount inside 50s, but they just found
so
it
efficient.
easier.
And
Yep.
Adelaide scored it better than 1 in 2 last week.
And that's the back six, not being able to defend, not being able to punch, not like the number of times Mackay just got out muscled, got out like he was fucking useless. Like for a guy who's 200 centimeters and about 90 odd kilos, he looks like a piss weak motherfucker. Like seriously, like he is just like can't deal with guys that just look piss weak. Might as well play Cox as a tall defender because at least he's got longer arms.
All right, let's go to the votes. Daniel Bryan was our listener this week who said Saints by 5 goals. There was someone who said St Kilda by 40 something, but it was during the game, so I've discounted that. He gave 3 to Merritt, 2 to Durham, and 1 to Dersma, which is very similar to mine. I gave 3 to Dersma, 2 to Merritt, and 1 to Durham.
I gave 3 to Cooper Sharman, 2
Oh, didn't the commentary ride him?
2 to Steele.
That's a little bit frustrating.
Okay. Cooper Sharman, best player ever.
He was actually quite good. But
I go 3 to Merritt, 2 to Shield, and 1 to Draper.
Yeah, I don't agree with the Draper one, but that's fine.
That's fine.
That's how it works. It's a subjective thing, footy. Next week. Shall we talk about next week? So VFL play today at 1 o'clock against Sandringham. I might go. I'm tossing up going if it's dry.
I might watch it.
It's cold. On this, I'm torn between boycotting this football club
or just supporting the VFL.
Well, all of us really digging in and showing up next week and proving to this club that we give a shit because they don't.
Ugh.
And I'd rather boycott, to be honest. But anyway.
It's easier.
It's easier, yeah. I haven't let football affect my mood for a long time. I made a conscious decision that, hey, enjoy the wins, but losing doesn't matter. I've really got to let the losses go because it just affected my mood too much. I was miserable last night. And
you were miserable in the last quarter, I noticed.
It's the hope. And I believed. I thought it was different this year. That's my own fault. But geez, I was miserable. I ended up watching a movie that really made my night better, Green Book. I don't know if you've seen that. I was in the mood for a bit of a more serious movie, which I normally watch comedies. Yep. And it was quite good. Yeah, recommend. You know me, I don't watch movies.
No, you don't watch a lot of movies. So. I went to bed.
Yeah, I wasn't going to waste my Saturday night. I had the football pissed me off, and then I was going to play games with mates, and they ditched at the last minute, so that pissed me off. Oh, that
sucks. Yeah, that sucks.
So then I'll just watch a movie. Yeah, anyway. Enough about me. So we play.
About you.
We play Fremantle next week at the MCG. Now, a month ago, this was shaping up as a top 4 clash to shape the top 4. Now, respect to Fremantle, they're still doing the things that they're
still playing good footy. Yeah,
we aren't, obviously. I would like to see some changes. We spoke last week about, well, if we lose this week, then it's time to play the kids. This is the opportunity.
Yep.
And I mean, yes, we're still 8th, technically speaking, but Jesus Christ, if we make a final, we are going to get thrashed.
If they turn this into a positive and say, yeah, but we're still in the 8, we're still playing for finals, I'm like, what?
So things
the ladder position is pointless at the moment. Like, it's form and it's quality.
Form, we are bottom 2.
Yeah, and Hawthorn should be in our spot. Like, there's so many other clubs that are playing. Adelaide should be in our spot.
St Kilda. I mean, they embarrassed us.
So many other clubs that are playing. So don't you dare, as a club, hide behind the fact that we're fucking in the 8, because that is pointless. Yeah. Have a look at our percentage. That's about the real...
It's bottom 4.
Yeah.
Things I'd like to see between now and the end of the year, not necessarily for this game of football, but between now and the end of the season. Yep. Archie Roberts get a game.
Yes.
Lewis Hayes get a game.
Yes. I'd like to see the Davies.
Main 2. I'm okay with Jaden not, because he's quite green apparently. But again, you're not losing anything. I support it, but I could understand why you maybe not. I think
the announcement of the retirements of Goldstein, Heppel,
Goldstein, and Jake Stringer.
Jake Stringer. If he signed any more than a 1-year contract, I'm burning the place down. Seriously, he should only get 1-year contracts, or he should say to other clubs, "Do you want him?
Do you want him for 2 or 3? Yeah." With all due respect, and there is a lot of respect owed to Goldstein and Dyson Heppel, and Jake Stringer. But
there's no.
There is,
but stop. No, I want to say something. I want to say something here.
Well,
Goldstein, we don't have to give Goldstein any respect. He's played 1 fucking year with us, and
yes, but
the North Melbourne give him respect, not us.
But we have to recognise that he was a very good ruckman for a long time. And that's it. That's all I have to say, but he needs to retire. Dyson Heppel, you've served this club really well. You need to retire. You are too slow, son. Way too slow and not strong enough to compete with the forwards that you're playing against.
The game is going past him quickly. He's been good. He's been very good for the first half of the year, but I cannot see him in the same situation next year, towards the end of the year, playing seniors. Like, there'd be trouble. Yeah.
So yeah, Lewis Hayes, and I think Ridley will play next week. It was only a corky. I don't think he'll miss
Oh, damn it. I was hoping he'd be out just for the sake of someone else could come in.
Yep. I would love to see Redmond dropped at this point. I'd love to see one of Redmond and McGrath dropped. I don't think you'd drop both of them. I think that's illogical, but one of them for Hayes. Excuse me a second. You talk.
Sam just has to clear his throat, everyone, because he's a drinker and a smoker, and it hits him hard in the morning.
Neither of those things. I did have to clear my throat, though. You weren't lying there.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Archie Roberts in for probably Perkins at this point. I don't really know if we have a forward that we can chuck in there, but I'd love to see
Well, to be honest, Archie Perkins could play forward. I know he's been playing on a wing, or is that more of
I'd
a...
like to see him at half-back. Give him a bit of defensive accountability.
I'd like to see a new half-back. I'd love to see some new half-backers, because the ones we've got don't work.
I'd love to... Well, okay, so we maybe don't have a big forward to come in, but rather than Goldstein...
Go small then.
Shut up. Rather than Goldstein, let's play Nick Bryan instead of Peter Wright. Let's give that a go. Let's see if Nick Bryan can play as a forward backup ruck.
Yep.
Because the man can kick. I know that Bryan has a decent kick on him. I don't know if he has a decent kick for goal, but he has a decent field kick. And he can run. He's pretty mobile as far as ruckmen go.
Yep.
Let's give that a go. Why not?
Well, see, I would prefer to go... I don't mind that idea. I would prefer to just go small and try and create something different from us in that you look at Hawthorn and their sort of small and mobile forward line and say, well, I don't think Toll's working. And maybe one way to get us out of kicking, bombing on everyone's head is to bring in the although we'll probably still do it.
Yeah.
We'll still do it. Bring in the two Davies for Peter Wright and play Cox as the backup ruckman. Like, he can do it. Yeah. And I think he can do it just as well as Peter Wright. Like, I don't care. He's going to get hurt, but I don't care. To be honest, he's a senior AFL football player. You're going to have to stick your body on the line. And then
sorry.
Yeah. So and then I probably would like to see if anything. I'm trying to think of the guy in the VFL. Can't think of it. You talk.
I was going to ask you though if the Jones wing experiment, which we really liked and were really supportive of, has that come to an end? Do we need to say, righto, Jonesy, we're going to take Pete out, so you need to become our key forward? And
sorry.
He would have learnt a lot in that stint, and he now seems to fly for the ball really well, so maybe that's a trigger that we can pull.
So would the theory then be that Jones and Caddy could be your two talls with Langford and Stringer, and then you could put three smalls around the bottom of that, and Cox then plays on as a wing ruckman?
My issue is with that. I love it. I just don't know if we have three smalls to throw in there because
you have to play. You have to play Menzies as one of them, and
Menzies, Davey.
Yeah, Menzies, Davey.
I don't hate it.
I don't know. I don't know it. I think is the thing. Like, I think we've seen what we've seen, and Peter Wright's not working.
Well, we know what doesn't work. Yeah,
we know what doesn't work. And
we say to Kyle Langford, don't leave 20 metres out from goal because that's about your kicking range at this point.
I don't think that might be too far. It's got to be directly in front of me.
Or persist with Langford as a defender.
Yeah.
And play Jones, Caddy, and Stringer. That's enough height for me.
Well, try and become mobile. Try and become like. I think
and the two talls there are mobile. They're mobile.
Yeah, that's right. Jones and Caddy can run around. Like, so
I really like that as a forward pairing, actually, because Caddy gives you that real natural leap as opposed to the unnatural leap.
Well, would Caddy be the deep forward and Jones be the...
Yeah, well, Jones has been playing on the wing, so he's got the tank for it, at least.
That's what I think too, yeah.
Again, really supportive of him going to the wing. That worked quite well for a bit, but now you've got issues with Peter Wright, Langford to an extent. You've got to adapt to that, and I reckon that's an option. It's not.
It won't happen.
We're not suggesting it should or will, but that's an option.
So
I just want to see.
Goldstein will come back in next week with Kelly.
Oh yeah, Cal will come back in actually.
Kelly will come in.
I got no
and
issues
will
with
go out.
Cal in the side.
No, I have no issues with Kelly. He defends at least.
Yeah. If Caddy goes out, I'll throw hands because he was poor, but again, you're playing a kid to learn. That's fine.
He's allowed to be able. He plays the rest of the season. It's all about development for him. Like he can't develop in the VFL. He needs to develop in the AFL.
Correct.
And yes, You look at what's his name, Cadman at GWS.
Yep.
Yeah,
They
like
persisted with him, and
he's turning into a really good little player, and he just needs to play footy now. That's what they know.
look, honestly, I don't care what happens, but Hayes and Roberts need to get games of football in the next 4 weeks. Just expose them to AFL footy. It'll make us happier, I think, as supporters. I think we're a lot more forgiving when the kids fuck up because you just go, at least they'll learn from it. Like we've just said it with Caddy.
Yeah.
It's all learning. So
I think the problem is though that the club and the coach will tell us and sell to the board that we are still in chance for playing finals, which is what the end goal is to play finals and win finals. And they're going to sell to the board that, we're eighth and we probably could be.
We're not winning another game for the year.
But that's not, I'm telling you what I think is, I agree. We're not going to win another game for the year. We're going to end up about,
Gold Coast, maybe, because they can't play away.
No, here's my prediction. They'll win their first game in Victoria against us after losing their first game at home.
Yeah, I support that.
Yep. So that's on the cards, I reckon.
All right.
I think we're at that stage again where I think the whole list is got to be looked at again. Like
there's some big conversations to have in terms of that, but let's worry about the next 4 weeks, I suppose.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, my throat. I reckon we wrap it up there. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever told you to shut up in a podcast, and I've told you to shut up twice in this
times.
podcast. I'm just grumpy. It's not your fault. I've said many a time I could not do a podcast with anyone else in this universe.
He shouts at me, but he's abusive.
Don't joke about that. That's not funny.
Sorry.
I'm not abusive. I just want you to be the best version of you. You tried to help me in everything today, and I've just been an absolute prick.
Yeah, been a little prick.
I'm sorry. It's the mood.
I think we both have frustration towards the football club, and I think we don't know how to vent it properly.
So just
I think part of that issue is that how the football clubs always ask you about communication and what do you want to hear from the club, what do you want to see from the club, and
I don't care what you do, bros. Just play good football.
Well, I think this is one of those times where I want to hear from them, and I don't want the bullshit. I don't want that we gave 100%. I want that. Geez, we were shit, and I think we need to heads will roll this week. There will be mouth guards in at training. I want a coach that comes out and says that.
To quote a premiership coach recently, we need to grow the fuck up.
Who said that?
Damien Hardwick.
Oh, really?
About Gold Coast when they lost to North at Marvel. He said we need to grow the fuck up. And it was a great statement. Yes, it was. And I would love Brad Scott won't do it because he's got mates at the AFL and he's got to be a good little boy. Yeah, but we need to grow up.
Yep.
As a football club, I'm not talking specific players. I'm not talking anything. We have been shit
as a club
for 20 years. It'll be 20 years this year since we won a final, and we're not winning a final this year. So it's going to be at least 20 years.
And
there's a point.
Even in the last 4 years, we haven't improved.
I don't understand how we have 80,000 members.
No. You're all idiots.
It's a testament to the fucking loyalty of these supporters.
It's a testament to the PR campaign every year that they fucking flog the fact that we're going to be better, and we're fucking not.
Yep. That we're loyal to a fault. I can't believe we haven't skipped a podcast yet just because we can't be bothered.
No. To be honest, Sam, it's just a little thing here. I have found this
therapeutic.
I found this the one after the losses, talking about it, I think has helped my mental state, and maybe it helps people listen to it too, to get over it a bit, because I think without this, I would hold it a bit longer.
It's our therapy,
into Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. Whereas this, I get to talk about it, I get to shout about it a little bit, and I get to have you to bounce it off and you to tell me to shut up all the time. So it's been nice.
For me, with the with the podcast, for me, the end game is win a flag, right? So if we win a flag, that's it.
That day.
That's it for the pod.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's my
I agree.
At this
I'm
moment.
out that day. We'll do a podcast after the grand final.
Drunk and have all the fun in the world, and that'll be that.
Yep.
I've thought that since we started. We are no closer now than when we started. And we could be doing this podcast until you're well in your 80s.
Well, look, I was just realising that cricket premier's mug that I drink out of. I reckon that was only 15 years ago.
God.
That was the least.
Anyway, I think we've said all we can say, and let's go again next week and have the exact same conversation about how bad we are. Like, I can't wait. Or
Fremantle
we're going to beat Freo and go, what the fuck is going on at this club?
No, we won't beat. Don't live in that. Don't give yourself false hope.
It's not hope. I'm just saying it would be the kind of thing we do.
Nope, we won't. Not on the form that we have.
Or we'll lose by 10 goals.
10 goals.
There's no
10
in between. There is no. We're going to win or get flogged. There's nothing in between those two options.
Can I put a little comment in for I want people's comments? In our
no one listening. At this
no one listening, but if everyone is listening, I want your tip for today: Collingwood and Richmond.
Oh yeah, I don't even know if this will get up in time. It takes
That's
a
right,
couple of hours to get this sorted, but
Fair
yeah,
enough.
I go on the Tigers.
Put it on the Facebook.
Today, I feel like a Richmond supporter.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm jumping on the Giants. That's what I usually do about this time. of
No,
year.
I'm going to go the Sash. At least there's team
Sash
with the
Bros.
Sash. Yeah, Sash Bros.
All right. Look, thanks for tuning in again. If you've made it, if you've listened to any of this, you're a trooper, and we hope that it helps
We
the
apologise.
mood. Apologise to you, Nathan, for telling you to shut up. I do love you. I just,
We apologise for the
Okay.
Essendon Football Club and the shitness that we continue to produce, and we at some stage, I'm sure we'll try to be better.
one day. All right. Go Dons.
Yeah. Well, no.
Well,
Fuck you, Bombers.
All right. That'll work.